about Saints head coach Sean Payton. Sean, thanks for being with us. We know you were one of the first people in the NFL that we know of to be contracted with coronavirus. First and foremost, how's your health?
Trey, appreciate you having me on. I'm doing well. It's been over a month now, and I had 3 days of symptoms, really just your basic chills, slight fever on that Monday. So I feel like, I was fortunate. I didn't have any of the respiratory issues, and am far enough along now, 3 weeks removed from any type of symptoms where, I'm doing really well. Thank you.
So what are the doctors telling you going forward then? Because like you said, you had mild symptoms. It's been 3 weeks. They're giving you the thumbs up now? Yeah,
in fact, look, right here in New Orleans, and I know across the country, the blood banks are really looking for donors. And in order to give plasma, currently you have to have a positive COVID test, which I had. You have to be well past, I think, 21 days. And again, it's been even more than that for me. So I was able to go in the other day and donate blood. It's a process that takes about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and they hook you up to what is a machine that's basically drawing blood and then returning blood and gradually extracting plasma from your blood. So, when you finish, there's enough plasma to treat either 3 or 4 patients that have it in a much more serious way, and then it takes about a month before you can do that same thing again. So I just had that done just this past week.
Well, we're glad that that's going well. We're glad you're continuing to progress and continue to get healthier. And, of course, we're doing this draft in a completely different way. I know the plan for you guys originally when the facilities were closed was to have everybody at a brewery in one place, and obviously that wasn't the case. So what have you made of how we've been doing this and how different it's been in the virtual setting we're in?
Look, I think it's gone better than most of us would have expected. And, you adapt, you adjust very quickly. I think the league has done a fantastic job. I think everyone was a little concerned. And our preparation, be it that it was a brewery, it was one owned by our owner and was really in a remote area. All of our scouts, all of our coaches were WebExing in, and there were just 2 or 3 of us at that main location. Now, we took our temperatures each day going into the meeting room. That worked out really good. And right now, though, I think the communication's been pretty smooth. We had some weather here a couple of days ago in New Orleans on the first round of the draft that quickly brought generators to Mickey's house and my house in the event that we lost some power. But fortunately, that didn't happen.
No, it's been unbelievably smooth. And I got to say, from our perspective, from what we heard from viewers, seeing you guys working the way you're working and with your family has really brought an intimacy, for lack of a better term at times, to the way this draft has progressed. So that's been something that's been fun and new. So we're gaining that even though we're losing some of the insanity that we normally do when we're on the road for this thing, and we'll have that next year when we're in Cleveland. So let's talk a little bit about the draft. Listen, you get Cesar Ruiz, the big center out of Michigan. You guys know how important the middle of that offensive line has been for you in years past. What did you like most about him?
Well, look, it was an area we identified, an interior offensive lineman. Cesar's someone that we felt, was so consistent. You could pull out any game tape you wanted to. Week 1, week 2, week 3, go back a year ago. You see his footwork. He's got exceptional power. He's got a real good, strong punch. And if you look at his hands, they're size 11 hands. So just the consistency and then the makeup with this player, it was great to have a chance to see him live. It's unbelievable to watch these guys, to see their dreams unfold right in front of the camera. And back to your earlier point, this has gone so well, and I know there's a way you're used to doing things, but I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe some adjustments made, because I think the fan loves to see a little bit more of the interaction with each of these draft picks in their houses, rather than in some setting maybe where they're all in their suits. And I just think it's been interesting. But Cesar's one of those players that we think can come in, play center, play guard, We drafted, of course, Eric last year was a center, McCoy, but there's a good football players, and I think it's important to build through both your offense and defensive lines.
Well, listen, Sean, we know you're a guy that can get things done. We saw that a couple of years ago, getting through that rule change. So if you want to make sure we can do the intimacy and still have the insanity of the location somewhere else, we would be all for that. And we just wanted you to know if we can get on board to get that thing going forward. Now we have Zach Bond, the linebacker out of Wisconsin. Listen, he was unbelievable last year. 32, I think, combined sacks and tackles for loss for the Badgers. There was that story of the diluted sample that he let everybody know at the Combine. What did you like about him?
Well, again, a real good high makeup player. There's some versatility with this player that is a little unique. We feel like linebacker is going to be his position. He can be a designated pass rusher, someone that can help you on third down and be involved in some of your pressures. But I do think this player can play inside at Mike. I think he can play at the Sam position. He's got a great football makeup, great motor. Quite honestly, we spent a lot of time, without having a second-round pick, as that round was unfolding, us trying to get back up for this player took about, a half an hour, 45 minutes, and finally we were able to make a trade, and we're glad we were able to.
And then you get Adam Troutman, the tight end out of Dayton. A lot of people surprised he was there. And, Lewis and I always talk about finding a player to be drafted in a situation and a fit that works for him. And it certainly seems like with the way you guys have run that offense over the last many, many years in New Orleans, his skill set is something that you guys can really utilize.
Yeah, and look, we've got a group of good tight ends already here. But I think this is a player that we felt did both things fairly well. He's pretty good in line blocking. You see his hips in the passing game. His three-cone drill was exceptional. You see an athletic player. And one of the things about a smaller school is sometimes you want to see him against competition that steps up. I think we've seen that a little bit from him. I thought his combine was outstanding. Again, someone that we spent a little bit of time on, and then with a third-round selection and that costing us, obviously our picks today, we're focused on free agency right now.
Well, I was about to say, unless you guys trade back in, you guys are done for the draft, and it's on to the next thing, undrafted free agents. And then really the unknown, right? Because we have the virtual workouts, although you've told your team don't worry about that, be ready and rested and come back to training camp healthy. What are your expectations for what comes next after this, Sean?
Well, look, I think gradually we've seen it around the country, and I think our league and all the sports leagues are going to pay close attention to where this is all going. I think the one concern I mentioned this earlier is, I feel like we're doing good. I mean this as a country, and we're in the third quarter, maybe the early fourth quarter. And I hate to use that example, but we're talking about taking our starters out of the game with a 10-point lead, and I feel like we've got to be smart about this. But I think our leadership will pay close attention to it. I think when the time's right, we'll be back. I think the bigger question is going to be our fans in the stadiums. That's going to be, I think, the bigger challenge. But clearly, through this spring, we've got a veteran team, and we want them focused on their families, focused on getting in shape the best they can, paying attention to their state and city guidelines. We'll have plenty of time in training camp to get these guys ready to go, and then these three rookies, along with the rest of these free agents that we signed today, they'll go through a rookie school, and we'll have meetings just like we're planning on doing. But with the veterans, we'll see those guys in July.
Well, listen, Sean, it is always good to talk football with you, especially good to talk to you and know that you're on the way to a full recovery. Appreciate your time, my friend. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate you.